Greetings, everybody. This is Brother Ravana Noon, representing Awakening Universal Minds. That is our show that is every Thursday at 9 p.m. on TalkShoe.com. It is a Left Hand Path show. It is a Black Magic show. It is dealing with various aspects of the occult, alchemy. Check it out when you get an opportunity. Today's discussion will be Kali and vampire magic. First of all, who is Kali? Well, as we know, Kali comes down to us from India, but it goes back to the Dravidian culture, and it predates the Aryan culture. Kali was considered the Dark Mother, or the Dark Goddess. Legend says that she was born of Durga, who was the warrior goddess, and in the middle of a battle, she gave birth to Kali to help fight the demons. Now, when Kali was born, she was born as a warrior goddess. This is important because later on we'll discuss why that is important when it's related to the feminine principle or feminine energy. So Kali was born black as night. She was born ferocious with a trident. She had a dagger or sword, and she went on a rampage killing all the demons. What happened is Kali got intoxicated by absorbing the blood of those she had killed. And she then went on her rampage continuously to the point she started killing some of the gods and goddesses. That was considered unacceptable, so Shiva went to Kali and laid at her feet, as legend says, and laid there in an immobile, stationary position with an erect penis. When she saw that, she looked down upon him. She saw his erect penis, was astonished. Her tongue dropped out, which is how some of her images are depicted. And her rage and anger got transformed into lust and love. And she then decided to mount onto Mount Shiva. And the sexual pleasure and love she was feeling allowed her to subdue her anger. And she became one of destructive but yet transformative forces. That's just how legend goes, but when we look at that, we have to understand that myths or mythological stories are nothing more than metaphors that are relating to ourselves, aspects of ourselves as human beings that we are able to associate or resonate with the symbolism of Kali, Sekhmet, whose story is very similar to Kali. We resonate with that symbol. It resonates with our subconscious mind, which is one of the highest, clearest ways to program our subconscious mind is using symbolism. And from that, Kali represented the destructive force, destroying our illusions, destroying our fears, our doubts, our worries, our wounds, our traumas, our pains, our overbearing ego. I say overbearing because ego is necessary. Overbearing is when the ego gets out of hand and delusional. And that destructive force then becomes a transformative force to overcome all these obstacles, take our weaknesses and allow to take those weaknesses and improve them so that they can become strengths in our life. Because of that, Kali has sometimes been shunned, or people have been afraid to work with Kali because Kali represents that primordial, chaotic, dark, abyssal power. That power that is in the dark. It is a necessary aspect of our human endeavors that we overcome this aspect of fear of the dark Because as the Assassin's Creed movie clearly stated, which I love that movie, there's much occult symbolism and many very important meanings. For example, they said we go into the dark to do the work of the light. Light is not synonymous with some golden aura. Light is not synonymous with some sun rays and everything is illuminated, being enlightened. On the contrary, light represents intellect. Intellect that is within the dark. And that intellect that we awaken in the dark becomes a guiding force of tremendous willpower and tremendous direction and focus in our life. So it's not some fake light, golden light, illusory sun rays that are going to burn out in time. For darkness is eternal. Darkness will be, always has been, and will continue to be even after the sun burns out after a million years. The darkness will still be here. So stop being afraid of the dark. And many don't work with Kali because they're afraid of the dark. Not just the dark as in an element of existence of you working in the shadows or working in a dark room, but the dark of yourself, the things that you wipe or brush or sweep under the rug because you don't want to deal with it. Kali is that type of energy that will take you, and let's say you ask, I want to learn how to ride a bike. Kali would just throw you on a bike without training wheels and say, figure it out. It's not that I'm going to caress you and pamper you into it. Kali is not that kind of energy and force. But why do I say that she's a vampire or vampiric kind of goddess or queen that is utilized in magic? That is because Kali was known to absorb, which metaphorically, whenever you hear of these gods or goddesses drinking the blood of humans or drinking the blood of other gods, they're not, in essence, literally drinking blood as in the Hollywood version of vampires or vampires. What they're doing is absorbing the life energy within the blood, whether you want to call it prana, sechem, chi, so on and so forth. They absorb that energy to charge themselves back up and continuously stay on a high vibrational level. So when you hear of Kali taking or blood or drinking blood or absorbing blood, it is synonymous or symbolic of vampirism or being a vampire or vampire. That's why when you look closely at some of her depictions, she has some of the vampire fangs that has been synonymous or known for centuries now throughout time. But she is one of the oldest forms of vampirism. Sekhmet of ancient Kemet as well is synonymous with vampirism, for she went on a blood rage and killed and destroyed every human and drank their blood. No, she was absorbing the chi, the sechem, or the prana life force of these humans. And vampirism is not just absorbing energy from human beings. Vampirism is absorbing energy from everything in existence around you, whether it's trees, whether it's the grass, whether it's the sun or the moon. You're able to absorb that prana, that sechem, or that chi continuously every day, unlimited supply to keep yourself charged up. Many have been doing this unconsciously, but because of magic and left-hand path and all these things that are tainted and considered sinister and considered evil and Satanism, these are all just various systems utilized by individuals on the left-hand path. There is no one system that is synonymous with the left-hand path. There are many paths, many systems on the left-hand path. Left-hand path philosophy simply is self-deification, self-overcoming that leads to self-mastery. It is null and void of external worship. It is null and void of worshiping a god, goddess, demons, Satan, etc., etc. If you are worshiping Satan, you are not on the left-hand path. You essentially have uh, traded in Christianity for Satanism. Same extension, same religious motif, same exact principles. You're just going from one extreme to the other. On the left-hand path, we have no gods or goddesses or anything that we worship externally. If you do, however, use an archetype, a god or goddess on the left-hand path, it is not for worship. You're utilizing it because that symbolism of, let's say, Kali, resonates with your subconscious mind because it is something that you may be lacking in or deficient in, that working with that energy, that symbol, that archetype is necessary for you to take those deficiencies and strengthen yourself and overcome whatever blockages you may have that keep bringing forth that deficiency. So for myself, let's say I work with Kali. Kali is that force, that energy that allows me to face some of my issues that I may have buried, whether it's mental, emotional, psychological, sexual, whatever the case may be. Kali brings that forth because that symbol of Kali resonates within my subconscious mind, and it calls forth those things that are resonating with the symbolism of Kali. And I am able to face it. Not run from it, not hide from it, not meditate it away, not sit in a lotus position, go up into a mountain and not deal with it. It is confronting things as they come head on. It is a warrior aspect, and it is an aspect that allows you to confront everything without hiding or running from yourself. Because of that, many do not understand what they are doing on the left-hand path. They think, oh, all hail Satan, all hail Lucifer. And they begin to worship the very thing that they said as a left-hand path practitioner they would never worship anything outside of themselves. But in time, here comes the flip of the script, and religiosity comes in, and you begin to worship. So, because this is discussing Kali, that dark goddess deals with that dark energy, dark matter of the universe, which is 93% of the universe is dark energy and dark matter. Only 7% is visible light. Thus, darkness is supreme. But when I speak of that darkness, is going into your own abyss, and facing everything about yourself that you've never faced. For example, you could be working with Kali, and all of a sudden, let's say you're a brother, it arises that you really find 70-year-old woman sexy and attractive. And that's not me. I'm just saying this is an example. Now, for all these years, you've kept it hidden, and it became so repressed inside you that it became a perversion, and you find yourself looking at older 70-year-old woman and feeling a sense of sexual urge, a strong sexual urge, but you never understood it, so you suppressed it, repressed it, considered it a perversion, and it started to become something of a perversion, actually, and you started doing very extreme things to find a way to release that energy that you had held pent up inside you. Kali helps you release that and identify that fact, identify that reality that you've been holding so hidden from even yourself. So that destructive force comes. And when that destructive force comes, it chops up your head, your illusions, your overbearing ego. It chops it off of your overthinking, overanalyzing, being too analytical. And what it does is it throws you right into the abyss of dealing with all what you haven't. And it surfaces, comes to the top. When it comes to the top, it becomes something that can be very strong in energy. You'll feel pressure in your chest. You may feel pressure in your head. This is how much you've repressed some of these aspects of yourself. So when I work with Kali, I jump into the unknown without fear. Fear is not real, but we make it real. Because what we're essentially fearful of is the things we don't know of that we have no control of. And many of us suffer from power and control. We want control over everything. We're afraid to lose control. Well, unfortunately, for those who are afraid to lose control, you're never going to go anywhere or step further in life. You have to be able to lose control to regain your control again. You can't be afraid to lose that control. So, various things that we do when we work with Kali. For example, you can get a Kali statue or Kali painting or picture. Make that the focal point or centerpiece of your altar, if that's what you choose to have, an altar. When you have Kali as the focal point and center point of that altar, put some of the trimmings or symbols that are associated with her. A crow is associated with her. Serpents are associated with her. Skulls are associated with her. So I have Kali as the centerpiece, and around her I have these different symbols, because Kali is synonymous with sex, life, and death. So I have those symbols around her. And you basically consecrate this symbol. You utilize your energy, because as a sorcerer or sorceress, you are the focal point and the spark of any ritual. It's not the archetype or the symbol of the archetype. It is you who is actually resonating with that archetype, because you embody the same characteristics or attributes that archetype may have. So you have to consecrate or give life to whatever symbol you're using. There's various ways. You can use your spit, because it contains your energy in there. One of the most potent and strong ways to utilize is your sexual fluids. Take a dab of your sexual fluid and you put it on the statue, the painting, or whatever else. It now energizes, resonates, and creates a syncretizes you with that resonating energy of the archetype and what it symbolizes. There's going to be a link between the two. It's now even strengthened further with your sexual fluids, your spit, and some may even use their own blood. For a female, using your menstrual blood is one of the most powerful tools that you can use, and you put a dab of that on the archetypal symbol. So when you work with Kali, there's various things you can do. Utilize her yantra. Yantras are what we in the West would consider sigils, but they're more of a geometric shape which contains triangles, squares, and circles. Utilize her Shri yantra, as it's called, and you can either utilize that by drawing it on the ground, by putting it on a paper, putting it on an altar, or drawing it on the ground. On the ground, I tend to draw a circle with a triangle inside of it, which is one of her symbols, the triangle. And I put the Shri Yantra at the top of the circle. And that creates a vortex of energy and a focal point directing me towards the symbolism of the Kali statue. And then for those who are not scary or afraid and you want to embody the energy associated with this archetype, there is a mantra or mantra that you can use. Mantra or mantras are basically words of power that you recite in a repetitive format over and over. Usually you use a japamala. These are Rudraksha beads. Okay, use a japamala of 108 beads on here that you utilize. and you use her mantra 108 times. And it's very important to understand that when you're doing this mantra, what's happening is that you're bypassing the conscious mind, and the subconscious mind is being activated by the utilization of the mantra, so the conscious mind does not distract or interfere with the working at hand, which is basically the essence of black magic, is working with your subconscious mind to reprogram it and recondition that mind how you choose to reprogram it, put in there what you choose to have in there, and erase or eliminate the programming of society, family, culture, etc., etc., etc. You have done the work to basically redo everything yourself. So when I do this mantra, I'm bypassing the conscious mind, getting to the subconscious, where the resonation, where I resonate with the symbolism of Kali, and it comes forth where I start to embody that energy. And now the true work can begin. So, for example, one of the mantras that you can utilize comes from utilizing